starting off with injuries. I mean, my God, there's been a lot of big injuries to some big names. Starting off with injury number 1 that is notable, and by the way, I'll probably forget some, so let me know in the comments what I forget. Sean Murphy is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a cracked rib. Now, he had a ridiculously injury-plagued year in 2024 and in the second half of 2023 as well. When he came over to the Braves at the beginning, he was incredible, probably on pace to get some MVP votes in 2023. He had a ridiculous year, finished with an 843 OPS. First half, though, I mean, he was up there almost 1,000 OPS in the first half, if I remember correctly. Pre-All-Star, oh, this is 2024, my fault. Pre-All-Star in 2023 was 999 OPS. So they desperately need to get some hitting out of their catching position. They traded for Sean Murphy. I hate playing the what if game, but man, they had William Contreras, who is arguably the best catcher in baseball nowadays. They had him. What if they just kept him? As the Braves, they need people to stay healthy. That was their big problem last year, despite still making the playoffs, despite so many injuries. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, if you look at Sean Murphy's Baseball Savant from 2023 compared to 2024, he just didn't really have a chance to get it going. So they were hoping that this year could be a little bit different, but that won't be the case. Hopefully he does return sometime in early May at the latest, and he's able to be productive. Drake Baldwin, one of the Braves' top prospects, has the chance to make the opening day roster, being the opening day catcher. So if he can be productive, he had a really, really good year in AAA in 2024. That might be a good thing for the Braves to see kind of what he has, see what Drake Baldwin has, see what he's like at the plate, seeing major league hitting. Maybe there will be something there. Maybe he'll have a good cup of coffee. The next injury to a big name, George Kirby from the Seattle Mariners. Arguably their best pitcher. I mean, arguably an ace. He's not arguably an ace. He's putting up ace-type numbers. That whole rotation can be an ace, though. Every one of those starters, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert. I would probably say Logan Gilbert right now is their best pitcher. Luis Castillo is incredible as well. I mean, George Kirby, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller, they're just all so good. And it sucks to see George Kirby go down with a little bit of shoulder inflammation. He's going to begin the season on the injured list. Hopefully this won't really set him back too far. He had a great year last year. His whip was 1.07. 179 Ks and 191 innings, just never walks anyone. Look at that elite walk percentage, 3%, 99th percentile. And this is a big deal for the Mariners because they didn't do anything this offseason. They didn't really need to do anything for the starting pitching, but a little bit of depth couldn't hurt. They didn't go out and get any offense. So they're really relying on J-Rod and Cal Raleigh to lead that offense. And what happens if you get what happens if Logan Gilbert goes down? What happens if Luis Castillo goes down with an injury? Now you're down 2 starters. And the primary way you win games if you're the Mariners is your pitching, and 2/5 of your elite rotation is on the IL. How are you going to win games? I know there's Emerson Hancock. He was a top prospect. I think he's a little bit too old to be considered a top prospect now, but hopefully he can fill in and help that rotation until George Kirby comes back, and hopefully no other starters get hurt. That was a hypothetical scenario right there, but I mean, you see it happen all the time. It's always good to have pitching depth. I mean, look at the Dodgers. They had their whole rotation, basically. They had a whole rotation on the IL, and they won the World Series. That is because they had ridiculous pitching depth, and that's what you need if you want to compete and get to October and make a far playoff run. You need to stay healthy. And speaking of someone else who just can't stay healthy is Grayson Rodriguez. He's going to begin the season on the IL, and another big blow to the Orioles, who didn't really do much this offseason as well. They lost Corbin Burns, who was their ace last year, and they were relying on Grayson Rodriguez to take a step forward. I don't think, how many starts did he have last year? I know he hasn't had a full season. He had 20 starts last year, 3.86 ERA, 1.24 whip. He's 25 years old, 130 Ks and 116 and 2/3 innings pitch. I mean, he's still very, very young. I think he has a chance to be an elite pitcher, but if he keeps getting hurt, we're never going to see it. And the Orioles need starting pitching. That has been their big weakness so far in the last couple of years. And they didn't really do too much on offense to get better in that regard. I think Adley Rutschman is going to have a bounce back season. I believe he was plagued with a wrist injury in the second half that kind of kept him from being super productive. You lost Anthony Santander to the Blue Jays division rival. You did bring in Tyler O'Neill, though, who had a very, very great year last year. And I know the left field was deep. It is less deep this year. We'll see how that translates. I know O'Neill has had injury history before, but hopefully he can find something else. Hopefully he can find a way to stay healthy for the full year. That would be fantastic. And then the New York Yankees have been dealing with a whole bunch of injuries so far to notable names. You got Luis Gil, who's expected to miss at least 3 months. That's actually news to me. I did not know that it was going to be that severe. I mean, this guy won Rookie of the Year last year, and this sucks for me because I kept him in my fantasy baseball league, which is unfortunate for me. But still, it's way more unfortunate that he's actually hurt. I would much rather him stay healthy and be on a different team in my fantasy baseball league. And it just sucks. He had a great year last year. 3.5 ERA, 15-7 record. Not that that really matters. 171 Ks in 151 and 2/3 innings. Whip of 119. He did exactly what the Yankees needed him to do, and now he's going to be missing 3 months. Who knows if there's going to be any setbacks there. I really like what he did last year, and this Yankees rotation really did not need that to happen. Great pitcher. And that leads me to Garrett Cole undergoing tests on his elbow. This is not a sure thing, but that is a very, very scary thing if you're a Yankee fan, undergoing tests on his throwing elbow. He missed some time last year. He didn't make his first start until June, I believe. And that's just another big blow to this Yankees rotation. But it looks like Marcus Stroman is going to be making some starts here and there on the bright side. Is it a bright side, though? I don't really think so. I don't think Marcus Stroman is great. I think he's more of an innings eater at this point of his career. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I mean, he's going to be making some starts, it looks like, assuming he can stay healthy. That hasn't really ever been too big of an issue, but I mean, we got pitchers going down left and right. And then another notable name for the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton, has severe injuries in both of his elbows. And if he needs surgery, if he has to get surgery, it's going to end his 2025 season. And that's kind of a big deal, big blow. I mean, maybe it's not the same as if this were to happen a couple years ago. But I mean, you look what he did in the playoffs, and he still hits the ball incredibly hard. A 773 OPS, 27 homers. I mean, that's a good amount of homers in just 417 at bats. He's a dude that, man, it just kind of is unfortunate to see this happen so often in his career. I mean, he had the most at bats in 2024 in his last 3 years. And that is that's not a lot of at bats. He has had one season since 2019 with over 500, and that was 2021, where he hit 35 homers, 870 OPS. That was his last really, really good year. But I mean, you're still going to be missing that bat in the lineup. What do you do in the division series? What do you do in the playoffs last year? I want to make sure I can see this. I'll have to look it up in Baseball Reference, but I know he had a really, really good playoff run, and it just sucks to see him maybe miss the entire season. I hope that's not the case, but I don't really know what else he could do about these elbow issues. Maybe a little bit of rehab. I'm not a doctor. So I really just hope that worst case scenario is he misses a little bit of time. He's able to get some sort of relief in his elbows, and he's able to play at a decent level, at least at the level he was last year. But it doesn't look great. I mean, he's 35 years old. He's getting older. And this is just a rough spot for the Yankees. You're losing a bunch of guys that they need to depend on.